Hey, new hair. Look this. New hair. Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Uchechi and I am a content creator and digital marketing consultant. On my YouTube channel, I share Instagram tips, content creation tips, and experiences from my entrepreneurship journey to help you if you're just starting out on that path and figuring out how to run a business in Nigeria. I'll also be sharing some of those tips here. So if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure you hit the subscribe button before you finish watching this video and join my growing YouTube community. Okay, now today's video is an update. It's sort of an update to a video I made last year. In today's video, I'm sharing my favorite content creation apps, and I'll also be telling you why I use these apps. I made a similar video in 2020, this one. If you haven't watched it, I would link it up above and leave the link in the description box for you to watch. But I did that video last year and you guys seem to love it. So I decided to do an updated version to show you some of the apps that I'm still using, some that I have discarded, some new ones that I have added to my list of apps, and yeah, just generally tell you why I use some of these apps. So I'm talking about apps in 5 categories. So my writing apps, Insta story apps, photo editing apps, video editing apps, and my planning and scheduling apps. Now for writing, I use the Notes app on my phone and Google Docs, and this is why I use these apps. Now if you notice, or if you use these apps, you know that these apps can be used across devices, right? As long as you have internet connection, right? So you can sync these, you can sync them across all devices, right? What I mean by that is, if I have written something on my Notes app on my laptop, for instance, right, and I'm out and I need to refer to something that I've written in my Notes app, I don't have to carry my laptop everywhere. I can just carry my phone, whip out my phone, open the Notes app also on my phone, and whatever I have written on my laptop will be on my phone and I can make reference to it. If I even need to update a note, I can update it on my phone and it will reflect on the Notes app on my laptop, right? So I love the fact that you can sync, so I can work on the go and I don't need to carry all my devices wherever I go, right? So a typical example is when I'm trying to post. So I've mentioned in one of my videos that the apps I typically use for running my own Instagram page are the Notes app and the Preview app. So Preview is to organize my grid, which I'll talk about in the planning and scheduling apps, while Notes is to write all my captions. So if I wanted to post, for instance, maybe I forgot to schedule a post and I'm out and I need to post, I don't need to panic because everything is already on my phone. It's synced to all my devices. So I can just open my Notes app on my phone, copy and paste and post on Instagram. Same for Google Docs. So I typically use Google Docs and Google Sheets, which is like the Microsoft Word and Microsoft Excel for Google. And you can also sync across all your devices. And I love using this because, one, it allows for collaboration. So if I'm working with multiple people on the document, we can all work on the document at the same time, as opposed to sending Excel sheets or Word documents back and forth for updates and losing some of the updates in between that back and forth, right? So it's fantastic for collaboration. And again, similar to the Notes app, I can work on it from any device as long as I'm logged into my Google account, and I work on it from any device. I can make updates wherever I am, and it's just easy. It's just work on the go, right? So I typically use my Google Docs to write out my YouTube script. So for some of my YouTube videos, I have scripts with talking points to guide me for my videos. I use Google Sheets for my content calendar, like I shared in one of my videos. And yeah, so those are the apps I use for writing. Now for Insta Story app, in last year's video, I shared 6 apps for Insta Story, and that's outside the native Instagram app, right, with the Insta Story features. However, this year I have cut down on all of those apps. I still have the apps on my phone, right, for maybe very rare occasions where I need, to look for a fresh template. But for now, or at the moment, I'm currently using just one of those 6 apps, and that is StoryChic. I'm still using that app because I love the animated templates, the animated story templates from that app. It's fantastic. So I have posted one time, I use it to even make a proper video for my Instagram feed, and I had people like sending me DMs to ask how I created that video. So the animated story templates are just fantastic. Now, in addition to StoryChic, I have now started using the native Instagram app. So I make use of the features within Insta Story itself. But what I do to spruce up my Insta Story when I do have the time is to get inspiration from Pinterest. So I'm not sure how this happened, but somehow I find or I see Instagram story ideas, content on my Pinterest feed. I think I may have searched for it 1 or 2 times, and Pinterest figured out that that's probably an interest area for me, and I started showing that on my feed. So I get inspirations from Pinterest. I've mentioned a number of times that I draw a lot of inspiration from Pinterest for photos, for posts, for meals, you know, for workout routines. Pinterest is just fantastic. So that's that for my writing and Insta Story app. Now for photo editing, I haven't made any changes. It is still the classic Lightroom mobile, FaceTune 2, and Snapseed. Although I'm beginning to use less of Snapseed these days, it's more of Lightroom and FaceTune 2. Now Lightroom I use for my presets. I create presets, and I've also bought some presets, even though now I'm starting to use my own presets more because I like it a bit more. Yes, but Lightroom is for my presets and to make 1 or 2 adjustments. FaceTune 2 is if I want to whiten specific parts of the photograph. So for instance, after I've edited on Lightroom or in Lightroom, my walls are not as white as they are in the original picture, I will go to FaceTune to whiten it more. Or if I need to smoothen out some parts of a picture, or if I need to make some part of a picture pop, I would use FaceTune 2 for that. Now for Snapseed, what do I use Snapseed for? I typically will use Snapseed if I need to remove something from a photograph, right? You can do that in Lightroom, but I'm not sure why I don't like that feature in Lightroom. I don't know why. I just do not like that feature in Lightroom. So I would rather do that with Snapseed. Now, even though I'm beginning to use less and less of that app, I still wouldn't delete it because it still comes in handy. I have used it. So for instance, if I want to clone myself in a picture, right, I will use Snapseed. I think if you follow me on Instagram, you probably have seen this picture and this video. So this video is a tutorial on how I clone myself, and I used Snapseed for that. Now, if you haven't, I don't know if you're interested in seeing how to clone yourself in a picture. This works only for pictures and not for videos. I'm thinking of doing one for videos. But yeah, if you want to see, or if you want to know how to clone yourself in a picture and you haven't watched that tutorial, I'll leave the link to that IGTV video in my description box so that you can check it out and learn how to clone yourself. But yes, I use Snapseed for that. Now for video editing, I have cut down to 2. I can't remember how many apps I mentioned in last year's video, but I'm currently using just 2. One for my laptop and one for my mobile device. Now for my laptop, I use Final Cut Pro. Yes, guys, I have upgraded. As at last year, I was using iMovie and it was great, but I tried out Final Cut Pro and it's not as easy. I mean, the layout for iMovie, or the interface, yes, the interface for iMovie is kind of similar to, or the interface for Final Cut Pro rather, is kind of similar to iMovie, right? But sometimes it can look a lot more complex. But I love it because it has more effects, it has a lot more things that you can do with the software as opposed to iMovie. In fact, now that I mentioned, someone had left a comment on one of my videos asking that I do a tutorial on editing with iMovie for beginners. I'm so sorry I wouldn't be able to do that because I have now moved on from iMovie to Final Cut Pro. But what I'm thinking is I would probably do a video just comparing these two and then letting you know why I'm now using, even though I've told you a bit of that now, but now letting you know why I'm using Final Cut Pro and why I have left iMovie. So yeah, I'm not sure when that video will go up, maybe next week, maybe next 2 weeks. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so that you are notified when that video goes up if you're interested in making a choice between iMovie and Final Cut Pro. I'm so sorry, this is for just Apple users. If you do not use an Apple device, you don't have access to this software. So if you have an Apple device, iMovie, Final Cut Pro, but for now, at this moment, on my laptop for editing my videos, I currently use Final Cut Pro. For my phone, I use Inshot. Inshot is fantastic, right? It's simple, it is easy to use, and I love the fact that they keep updating the features. For instance, last year when I made that video, or this version of this video last year, you couldn't export your videos in 4K on Inshot, but now you can do that. Now you can export your videos in 4K on Inshot, or from Inshot rather. They also have some features. So for instance, they've added the picture-in-picture feature, they've added more effects, and it is just, sometimes when I open my apps, I see that they've added something new, and it's just fantastic. It's easy to use. It's fantastic for mobile editing. I haven't had any need to use any other app since they started adding more updates or features to the Inshot app. So these are the apps that I use for video editing: Final Cut Pro for my laptop and Inshot for my mobile device. Now the last category of apps are my planning and scheduling apps, and for these I use two apps. I use the Facebook Creator Studio and I use Preview. I already kind of mentioned this when I was talking about the writing apps. Now for Facebook Creator Studio, I have done a tutorial showing you how to schedule your Facebook and Instagram posts from Facebook Creator Studio. So if you're a business owner using Instagram and Facebook for business, or if you're a social media manager who just sometimes runs crazy trying not to mess up your post, you should watch that tutorial so you learn how to schedule your posts. You can schedule, okay, so I've never really tried to schedule in bulk, so let's say for like a whole week or a whole month, but I'm sure you have the capacity to do that. But yes, you can schedule your post with Facebook Creator Studio, and it is free, right? You don't have to pay for it. All you need to do is have a Facebook page, or make sure that your Instagram account is a business or creator account. So once you meet these criteria, you have access to Facebook Creator Studio, and you can use this to schedule to your Facebook and Instagram pages or accounts. Now for planning, I use Preview. So I basically use Preview to know what my grid will look like when I post stuff. So I use it to arrange posts so that I know what post is going up next on my feed, and to make sure I maintain my current visual feed or theme or aesthetic that you guys love on my Instagram page, right? So as a recap, my writing apps are the Notes app on my phone. If you have an Apple device, this app comes with all Apple devices, and Google Docs or Sheets for my laptop, and sometimes on my mobile device. For Insta Story, I now use StoryChic, and I have gone back to the native Insta Story features on the Instagram app itself. For photo editing, I still use my Lightroom mobile app, FaceTune 2, and sometimes Snapseed. For video editing, I have Final Cut Pro on my laptop and Inshot on my mobile device. And for planning and scheduling, I use Facebook Creator Studio to schedule posts to my Facebook and Instagram pages, and Preview to figure out what my grid is going to look like when I put up a post or two. And that's a wrap, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you haven't watched last year's version, I will link it above, and also leave the link in the description box if you want to know how to clone yourself in the picture. I have an IGTV tutorial, or a tutorial on IGTV using Snapseed. I will leave the link in the description box. And yeah, and that's it for today's video, guys. So I'll see you in next week's video. Again, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please, I'm begging. I'm begging. I see the number of views on my videos, and it's more than my subscribers. I appreciate the views. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Thanks so much for sharing my videos. But please hit the subscribe button. Thank you very much. Keep liking the videos, keep sharing the videos, leave comments for me in the comment section. If you want to talk about more categories of apps, let me know, right? So I'm thinking of doing a video or two on selecting stock pictures and copyright free music and videos for your social media content and even YouTube content. For instance, where I get my background music on YouTube from. Yeah, that's where my head is going at the moment. So if there are other categories of apps that you want me to talk about, let me know in the comment section. Also let me know if you use some of these apps, or if you have recommendations for some of the categories that I have already talked about in my own video. And I will see you in next week's video, guys. Till then, stay safe, stay fabulous. Bye, guys. Yes, you can call me Mulan. I'm so fine. Tips and experiences from my entrepreneurship journey.